Welcome to AplusGURU.com's solution videos, where today we will go over a mixture word problem. You are in your chemistry lab and your instructor asks you to obtain a 15% acid solution from a 10% solution and a 30% solution in a pop lab quiz. You need 10 liters of 15% acid solution to pass the pop quiz. So how many liters of 10% solution and 30% solution should you use? Okay, normally word problems are a little tricky. So what I've done here on the right hand side is I've created some steps to help us solve word problems. Okay, so step 1 says to determine how many variables there are. Normally we can label our variables as x or y or z. In our question it says how many liters of 10% solution and 30% solution should you use. Okay, so we have two variables that I see over here, which is one is for 10% and one is for 30% solution. Okay, so I'm gonna label x as our 10% solution, so the amount of 10% solution that we need in liters, and y as the amount of 30% solution in liters as well. Okay, now that we've determined our variables, let's go to step 2 and determine how many equations we need. There's a rule of thumb that I normally use, is that if there's 2 variables, then we need 2 equations to solve a problem. If there are 3 variables, then we need 3 equations. In our question, we have 2 variables, okay? So we need 2 equations. Therefore, the first equation is kind of easy, because what we do is we have to figure out the total amount of this should equal the total liters of the final acid solution, right? Which in our case is 10 liters. So we have x plus y should make up that 10 liters, correct? Okay, that'll be our first equation, which is equation number 1. Second equation is a little tricky, okay, because we have to obtain a 15% acid solution, okay, total of 15% acid solution from a 10% solution and a 30% solution. Well, we've labeled x to be our 10% solution and y to be a 30%. So we have to come up with a mixture that is a 10% of x and 30% of y solution, that's the total liters, right? To give us 15% of that solution, right? So we'll have 10% of x plus 30% of y to give us 15%. Now, there's something missing here, because we're doing 10% of x and 30% of y, but we have to total up to 15% of a solution, which is the amount of 10 liters. So 10 was missing here. Okay, now normally we don't write them in percents, we don't write everything in percents, so we got to convert percents into decimals, so we'll do that. This becomes 0.1 of x plus 0.3 of y, which equals to 0.15 of 10, which actually comes out to be 1.5. The way it comes out to be 1.5 is because if you're multiplying by 10, you move one decimal to the right, so it gives you 1.5. Okay, this will be our equation number 2. Okay, so now we've determined our 2 equations. Step 3 says solve for the variables. So the method we're going to use is called substitution in here. Okay, we're going to solve for the variable x, and then the equation we're going to substitute in to equation number 2 for x and solve for y. Okay, so let's copy down equation number 1, which is equal to 10, and we want to solve for x, which in return should give us x equals 10 minus y. Now we substitute x into equation number 2, and that will give us 0.1 of 10 minus y plus 0.3y, which gives us 1.5. Now, with the help of distributive property, we have to distribute 0.1 to 10 and to negative y. Okay, so what we basically do is we're going to get 1 minus 0.1y plus 0.3y, which will give us 1.5. Okay, now we have to combine all like terms together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all the y's together, and I'm going to bring all the numbers on one side. So by subtracting 1 from this side and from this side, which will give me 0.2 y equals 0.5. Okay, now we have to solve for y. So what we do is we have to divide both sides by 0.2. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we'll do 0.2 over 0.2 y, which is equal to 0.5 over 0.5, and this will give y, which will equal to 2.5, and that'll be 2.5 liters. Okay, now that we've solved out y, we need to solve for x. So we substitute 2.5 for y in this equation, and that will give us x. So x is equal to 10 minus 2.5, which will give us 7.5 liters. Okay, let's see if this makes sense. Okay, in our question it says we need to make a total of 15% acid solution from a 10% solution and a 30% solution. From the looks of it, the 10% solution is much closer to the 15% solution, so we'll need more of the 10, which is x, as per our variable assignment, right? Then we'll need more of 30. Okay, so we need more of 10% solution, which is 7.5 liters, more than the 30% solution, which is 2.5 liters. So our answer is correct. Now I hope that this video was helpful. Thank you for watching AplusGURU.com solution videos. Please visit us at www.aplusguru.com to actually connect to our tutors who are ready to help you with math, English, or the science subjects online. And also they can help you prepare for your tests or quizzes, or if you have any other homework questions. Please go ahead and try out our 15-minute trial, which is only offered for a limited amount of time.